Hello, everybody. Test, test. Hope you can hear me okay. Hi, this is Dan from Cameron Home Solutions. Appreciate you coming by. It's had a couple little technical difficulties this evening. We're a few minutes late in getting on here. We're here live. It's March 10th, 2026, 9:05 p.m. according to my camera, and here we are. I've just been watching Max Velocity on YouTube. Apparently, there are tornado outbreaks in Texas, Indiana. There were some in Illinois, and I believe Oklahoma City had some tornadoes. An awful thing. We run a hurricane prep channel here, but nothing can compare to the velocity and the craziness of tornadoes. I mean, you can get upwards of 300-mile-an-hour winds. I won't get into all that here because I am certainly not a tornado expert, but just the thought that as I look at the clock and I look at the screen and just see what people are dealing with down over, and again, is in Texas, Illinois, Oklahoma City, Indiana. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the people there and hope that they get by tonight. I mean, it's an awful thing when these things go nocturnal and you hear this freight train sound in the middle of the night and you can't see anything and you just hope you're okay. It just must be an awful thing. So again, our thoughts and prayers. Again, this is Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We're down here in Southwest Florida. Our main gig here on our channel is hurricane prep, and we also do heavy DIY. Our latest thing we had going on is we had a conversation on a video that some of you may have seen. We took comments from a press release from Ben Bailey, who's a member of the Charlotte County, Florida Community Development Office, and he put an article out about flood panels and hurricane flood panels and how they've been pretty popular over the past couple of years, but there's some issues with them. And mainly with these flood panels, the problem is that, and these again, it's not having the wherewithal here to just to put up a screen here and not wanting to make any copyright violations here on YouTube. Flood panels are those things you can imagine. You see sometimes in businesses, they'll have short legs that are screwed to the walls of their door openings, and they can put actually rubber sealed panels. Maybe they might be 12 or 16 inches tall, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it keeps a few feet of flood water from coming into a building. And for commercial buildings, they seem to work well because the commercial buildings are engineered well enough for them to actually handle the loads of that kind of water. The problem, as Ben Bailey points out, again, the member of the Charlotte County Office of Community Development, says that residential structures aren't designed to handle the kind of loads that these flood panels put aside. Now, if I can bring that up in context, let's say you have a garage here, and I'm trying to get it right in the camera here. If you have got a garage and it's a 16-foot wide garage, and then you've got a little divider, and then you've got maybe a golf cart garage or something next to it, you can imagine maybe going out to Amazon or anywhere else, and you can buy these piers that you would anchor to the center divider, to the end divider, get 16-foot long panels. You could put 3 or 4 of them up and pretty much waterproof your garage on that large garage, that large opening. And then you go over to your golf cart garage, let's say it's 8 feet wide, and you can buy 3 or 4 panels and set up your verticals and drop these things in. And now you've got this barrier in front of your garage, your golf cart garage opening, and your 16-foot main garage opening. But here's the issue, and this is the thing that Ben's talking about. He mentions that FEMA and the Florida Building Code do not recognize these hurricane flood panels as something that you can actually use, because residential structures aren't designed to handle the amount of stresses that get generated by the water coming up against these structures. Now, I did some internet research today and found out that when you look at, I said, hey, what if you've got 2 feet of water sloshing back and forth against these panels? How much force is being exerted against the building? And although I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, is about 37 pounds per square foot on those panels if the wind was blowing at 110 miles an hour. And if the wind is blowing at 150 miles an hour, you're looking at almost 60 pounds per square foot of force being exerted on those flood panels. Now, as I mentioned, you had your 16-foot garage opening, then you had a divider, Then you had your 8-foot garage. And usually that divider would be built of maybe 2x4s or 2x6s. And it might just be pinned in the ground by a sill plate or something. Well, you put these flood barriers up, and sure, they're anchored in the ground as well. But if you got that, let's say you've got 30, 40 pounds per square foot, you've got 2 feet of water rocking back and forth, pounding against your flood panels. It's a pretty good assertion that that center divider may not be able to handle that load, and it could buckle. And if it buckles, that'll cause structural damage for your garage. Water can come pouring into your garage and therefore come pouring into your home. So this is one of the things that Charlotte County's Ben Bailey pointed out. He said that these flood panels, they can be great for commercial structures if they're designed to handle the loads that holding back feet of water would entail. But most residential structures, virtually no residential structure, is designed in such a way as to be able to absorb those loads without some kind of catastrophic failure. And then you would have a water entry and a breach, and it'd be a real problem. So just something I want you to be aware of. It's a very serious thing. I never even gave it a thought. And we put a video out on it and recently, and we have it out on YouTube. And it's just a scary thing when you think about the fact that you're trying to control floodwaters and you might be endangering your home. You might be better to let the floodwaters come through your home and then just clean up afterward, because if this water gets pent up and then you have a flood panel that lets go, you could destroy your house or seriously damage it and cause way more unintended effects and consequences than you expected to initially. So that's just a very interesting thing about those panels. Now, again, we're live here. I'm going to go out with a chat, and I just want to see, is anyone affected by tonight's terrible tornadoes? So we've got, is anyone affected by tonight's terrible tornadoes? And what an awful ordeal to go through. I just wanted to put that out there as in a chat, just to let you know we're thinking about you. Mary and I are certainly have you in our thoughts and prayers, and just an awful thing it's time to be going through. And if you happen to have internet connectivity, I hope that you're working on your neighbors, your friends, your family, helping to keep them safe in this whole issue. What we talk about tonight is minor compared to that, but not everybody is going through that in this area. But I just wanted you to know that we've been monitoring the situation. And again, our thoughts and prayers are out there for everyone. It's just such a terrible thing. Other things we've been working on here, because we've got our own issues coming up. Hurricane season starts here in Southwest Florida, the Texas coast up to Carolina. Hurricane season starts June 1st, and it runs to November 30th. And it is currently March 10th. So we're working on getting our plans in place. We've got a video coming out shortly where we show how we defrost our freezer for the summer. It's actually the manual defrost freezer. And we've had this thing for years. It works really well. Very simple machine. We defrost it twice a year. And for Mary and I, it works out perfect. We also have a freezer in the fridge and freezer in the kitchen. It's the old school fridge. Over the model, it's no French doors, nothing fancy. We actually replaced our refrigerator in 2017 after Hurricane Irma. We had a power surge come through and damage the old refrigerator that was there. And we opted not to buy one of these fancy French door fridges or one of these fancy uprights. We just bought a typical top freezer bottom fridge. It was about $700. Because we know that now the designed obsolescence in most every refrigerator from Sub-Zero all the way down to a Gibson is 10 years. So if you want to spend $5,000 on a refrigerator, that means you're going to be spending $500 for 10 years before the thing craps out. And we spent $700, so that's $70 a year for the 10 years. We've had this refrigerator for 9 years so far, and it's still going strong. We opted for a small unit. It's easy to move, easy to handle, easy to clean. That is a frost-free model. The little Sears, what would that be? A Sears Roebuck, maybe a Craftsman. It's a Sears model manual defrost freezer. We'll mention it in our video as we get that produced. Just a small freezer. It works for us. We've got a special way that we defrost it twice a year. It's very easy. We don't even have to empty the entire freezer contents, and it works out really well. We just leave everything on the door, and we don't have anything sensitive on the door, and we remove the other contents and put them under blankets and in coolers, and in about 40 minutes we have that thing defrosted, all cleaned out, and we put the food back in, and we're none the wiser. It works out really well. So if anyone has any of this sort of thing that they deal with or work with in preparation for hurricane season, would love to put it out there. I'll put another chat out there now. Does anyone have any special things they do when defrosting fridges or freezers? In preparation for hurricane season. And we'll just fix a couple typos here. A little hard to see as we get older. Vision's a little tough on these smaller computers. All right. Does anyone have any special things they do when defrosting fridges or freezers for hurricane season? Question mark. We can throw that out there. And we'll see if anybody has an answer there. Again, usually when we go live, we don't expect a lot of people, if any. You got people out there with 30,000, 40,000 viewers, and they might get 100 and 120 people out in a live session. And we certainly expect that. But the idea is once we record this live session, we try to put some great information out there. Hey, you can stream it while going to work. You can listen to this much like our live Wednesday sessions. So when we got our Talk Wednesday sessions, we call them Talk Wednesday sessions, and you can actually stream those while you're driving to work, while you're working, depending on what you do for work. Maybe you're in your garage like me, hanging out doing your thing. Maybe you're cooking in the kitchen, and we figure you could stream a video, then stream another one, rewind it if you have to. The idea is we're trying to get hurricane preparation information out there so it's easily accessible, so you're comfortable with us, comfortable with our delivery, and you can get our message. If you like what we're doing here, hey, please consider hitting the like button. Definitely hit subscribe, but only if you're interested in the content. We don't want any subscribers on this channel if you're not genuinely interested in this content. We only want to cater to people who care about hurricane prep and who are technically involved and astute enough to do what's necessary. If you're a casual viewer, we appreciate having you here, but please don't subscribe if you're not willing or able to watch the videos. There's plenty more entertainment out there. We want to make this exclusive for people who are serious about hurricane prep. And Mary and I don't mean to be insulting when I say it that way. We just want to be exclusive to people who want to learn about hurricane prep and heavy DIY solutions, because that's who we are catering to. And if we cater to those people who are interested in that, then YouTube will push videos out directly to those people. So again, if you have that interest, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you get a nugget or two of wisdom, that's great. And if you have any comments, positive comments that'll help us bring more content and better content to you, hey, throw it down below, because that'll give us an idea of what we can do for our next videos. We've been around Florida since we purchased in 2011 here in Lee County, Florida, in Southwest Florida. And we lived out in that area for 11 years. Then we moved up into Charlotte County. So we spent a lot of time between Lee and Charlotte County over in Southwest Florida. We used to be 19 feet above sea level. Now we're 34 feet above sea level. We used to be about 13 miles inland from the ocean. Now we're 30 miles inland from the ocean. So, and the house that we sold is currently 29 years old. And we live in a house that's now almost 2.5 years old. And we had a house built for us up here in a new development in Charlotte County. And it was a strategic move for us as we get older and we recognize our limitations and our capabilities. We recognize that the best thing we can do is to move to an area that would not be such an onerous area for hurricane prep, where we didn't have to do so much cleanup afterward. And for us, it works. And the nice thing about it is that it allows us to take time to talk with you during these live shows and to put videos together so that we can help you. And our philosophy with our videos is very simple. We want to teach people tips and techniques to get through hurricane prep and through hurricane cleanup. There are a lot of people that may not understand how to do lifting and rigging and working with chains and taking care of different things and how they can possibly use their vehicle to help clean up their property. You've got people that buy trailer hitches and they put exercise bikes or mountain bikes or whatever on the back of their vehicles, or they may have some of these Thule bike carriers and that sort of thing. What we're saying is, hey, if you've got a trailer hitch on the back of your vehicle, you can change it out, and with a couple of attachments, you can go ahead and you can actually help clean up your property because your vehicle is basically a 1.5 ton or a 2 ton monster. It's got over 100 horsepower. It'll lift and move way more than you can. And you can get in, you don't need some big ass redneck pickup. You can get right out there with your vehicle and you can pull things and do things. And we show you the kinds of things that you can do on our channel. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach some mechanical aptitude and show some mechanical skills and some different things you can do, all the way from unboxing toolboxes. You can't quite see it here. It's right over on the side. We've got some new toolboxes we picked up from Harbor Freight. We got some 42-inch US General Series 3 toolboxes. We used our garage hoist in here. We used some rigging techniques to put those together so we didn't have to lift a 200-pound toolbox by hand and a 300-pound toolbox by hand. Then we also had another 27-inch toolbox that we put together using that hoist, and it just made life a lot easier. So if I'm 60 years old, so if I'm 60, I know I'm not getting younger. I'm trying to take care of my back. I want to take care of my shoulders. I want to take care of my fingers. So we've installed hoists. We've got different things. We've got a lot of practical knowledge, and we want to pass it along to you guys. Because if we can help you become more self-reliant, and that's one of our key words here, self-reliance is the best insurance. And my wife will tell you that time and time again. Self-reliance is the best insurance. So if you can take care of yourself, if you know how to handle your house, handle your property, maintain your water and your sewer and your landscaping, your sprinkler systems, or whatever, and if you can get out there and if you've got the knowledge to be able to put together a hurricane preparation and a hurricane prep kit for yourself, a possible evac kit in case you have to evacuate, if you have a plan about knowing where you can go, how far you can go, what it's going to take for you to come back, and knowing what paperwork you would need to come back to, that's very important as well. And these are the kinds of things we work to teach on our channel, because there are a lot of people that just need a little bit of, hey, if I watch somebody do it, if I see somebody do something or they talk about doing something, then hey, I can learn too. So that's what we're about and that's what we're dealing with. What I'm going to do is just take a minute here and see if we can't get over and see what's going on in tornado land. That's going to be a little difficult for me right now. I don't want to screw up this live feed, so I'm going to hold off. Hey, if we have anybody out there interested, if you want to pose a question or a comment, feel free. Again, this is Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. And Mary and I are working here. Whoop, I'm just going to shut off the water heater a little bit. All right, that'll shut down in just a minute. We're working here to impart hurricane prep knowledge, tropical storm prep knowledge, just a lot of practical ideas that you can use. And, you know, I'll say it, there's a lot of stuff here that's not anything new. You know, we've had preppers and people talking about this stuff for the last 30 years, but we're a fresh face to the scene. We've had an immeasurable amount of success with the hundreds of people we've helped with our hurricane prep information. We've got a lot of experience with hurricane prep and dealing with cleanup from many tropical storms and many hurricanes, including 2017's Hurricane Irma, 2022's Hurricane Ian, and dealing with storms Helene and Milton. And we all know what Helene did up in the Carolinas, et cetera, and elsewhere. It's just an awful storm. But we want to take the knowledge that we've learned from those storms, and we want to just pass along that information and the lessons learned that we've learned from so many other people and pass it along to you guys. So if you deal with a storm in the future, it's not such a big issue for you. And that's a very important thing for us to do. and we just want to make sure we get out there. So again, this is Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. Mary and I are working to give hurricane prep information and also some great DIY prep information as well. And I'm just checking out our water system over here, hot water system. Just want to make sure we're good. I just had to shut it down so it didn't make noise here during this live broadcast since I'm out here in the garage, and we have a tankless water heater right over on the side next to our diesel generator. Looks like it's good over there. So again, if anybody's got any comments or any issues, I talked about flood panels today, and flood panels were a big thing over the last couple of years, especially since Hurricane Ian, where people thought, hey, this would be a wonderful way to build up a wall. Basically taking, let's say we take this clipboard, you put a wall up in your garage, and then you put up another piece and another piece, and you can block water from getting into your house, and that's all great. But then municipalities realize that a lot of people don't understand that the force of water as you go 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 feet high is vast. And the energy with that water sloshing back and forth against your home might be enough to actually tear your home apart. So while you're trying to put flood panels up to actually protect your home, you're actually putting yourself in a position of maybe destroying your home. And that's not a great thing to have happen. So that's why we put out a video on that. We wanted to take Charlotte County Community Development's Ben Bailey, take his information, share it with you guys in the hopes that you might look into this sort of thing. If you're looking for hurricane panels for your home as a possible waterproofing solution, look at it, and that you might want to say, hey, let's just be careful because we don't want to blow in the side of our house. We don't want to blow in the side of our garage. Just something to think about as you deal with these sort of issues. So since then, we've gone on and we've looked at impact windows, and you'll have a couple of videos coming out about impact windows. We talk about whether you want to install impact windows in a new or existing home, or whether you want to install non-impact windows. Excuse me. And if you want to install non-impact windows, that's certainly a viable alternative. But do remember that in Florida, in most jurisdictions in Florida anyway, if you're going to put in non-impact windows, you need to augment those windows with a form of external hurricane protection, be it corrugated hurricane panels, polycarbonate panels, manual roll-down aluminum shutters, maybe powered aluminum shutters like we have over our impact windows, and the fact that we actually have double protection. We have impact windows and we have aluminum shutters that we push a button, they're electric. They come right down on it. So we have double protection. Some of you may do that sort of thing. So we've talked about that sort of thing. We've introduced a lot of concepts in the hopes that we can bring some of this information to you guys to get you thinking about the different options that you may have. Now, one of the things we can't escape without talking about hurricane protection is cost. It costs money to put impact protection into a home. It costs money to consider pulling out old non-impact windows and replace them with impact windows that are much stronger, that are more energy efficient, that keep noise out. Yes, they're going to be a lot more costly because of the construction materials and how they hold up and the way they're designed to handle keeping the hurricane out of your house, basically keeping the wind and the rain and the debris out. But it's something that can be very good for you. Many people get great insurance discounts from doing this sort of thing in their home. And we get a small insurance discount. We don't get a huge one. But like many people, our main thrust wasn't insurance discounts. We wanted peace of mind. We wanted to take care of our infrastructure. Excuse me just a minute. I've got to shut off a pump here. We wanted to take care of our infrastructure. We wanted to take care of our house and our possessions. And we wanted to take care of each other, because right now in this household, it's Mary and I, and we just want to be careful with what we have and how we take care of things in the house. So we purchased a house that actually was built with impact windows. They were non-insulated impact windows. And we decided, because we aren't getting any younger, hey, we bought this house in 2022. It was built in 2023. And so we're going on almost in June, it'll be 3 years. We've got low hedges. We can easily get around the windows. Everything's on the first floor, which is fine. But as we get older, we decided we're not going to be taking hurricane panels and putting them up and putting them down and protecting those impact windows, because that's what we did at our other house, which was fine when we were younger. Now what we've done is we've actually had electric roll down aluminum shutters installed over the impact windows. And all we do is just take a remote and boop, hit the button, and the shutters go down and the shutters go up. And we've also designed an electrical system that will allow us to use the inverter in our truck or use one of our Jackery power supplies to actually open and close the windows. If we have to evacuate, we can close everything down and lock it up. When we come back, we can use either the inverter in our van or our Jackery power supply to actually open things back up in the house. So it's a genius system. It really works well. So we put a little bit of money into it, and just can't tell you the peace of mind. Now, we afforded it a couple different ways. I bought a van for the work that I do, being self-employed. I bought a $27,000 van. I didn't buy a $50,000 van, so we had some money saved up from that. And then we bought a car for my wife, and it wasn't a $50,000 car, it was a $30,000 car. So there was another 20 grand we saved up. So just by not buying vehicles that were more than we needed, we freed up more than enough money to take care of our hurricane protection and do some other things around our house, which was absolutely fantastic. And I'll say that to folks, life is an interesting place. You can make a lot of choices in what to eat and where to go out, and what you can drive and where you can take vacations. And some people do all that stuff, and then they balk when it comes to protecting their most basic asset, which is their home. And when you're home, and if you can protect all that, maybe it'll cost you 30 grand or $25,000. Well, think about ways you can do that. Maybe you can not take a cruise and maybe not take the second cruise. There, you've already saved up more than enough money to care for those windows. And once that's done and your house is solid, especially if you plan on living in your house for a while like we do, then you don't have to make that expense anymore. Then you can go back on that cruise and you haven't really missed much. It's just about making smart decisions with your money, your time, and your efforts. And that's what we talk to people about here. Again, I'm Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. Mary and I run a hurricane prep channel out here on YouTube. We also do heavy DIY. We've got some great home improvements, tips and tricks that people can use. And we advocate always being prepared. When our fuel is down in our vehicles, we get down to 7/8, 3/4 of a tank, and we go ahead and just fill it right back up. You won't see us go down to a half, and you'll never see us go down to a quarter or an eighth of a tank. I remember doing that when I was younger and I didn't have any money. But now we make sure it's done because we realize it doesn't cost us any more to have a full tank or an empty tank of gas. Even this time of rising prices, what with the whole war going on in the Middle East and everything, we still keep our vehicles fueled up. And I just read something today in Florida. If you have at least a half a tank of gas, you can go at least 10 miles and get to a safe place, because in most cases, if you have to evacuate because of a hurricane, you don't necessarily need to leave the entire state and drive 3,000 miles to get somewhere, or 1,500 miles. You might be able to drive inland 20 or 30 miles and get to a neighbor's or get to a friend's or get to some facility, make your arrangements and check all that out, which is part of what we talk about here at the channel. And then what you can do is be safe. And if you have at least a half a tank of gas, you're good to go. But Mary and I always advocate have at least 7/8 of a tank. And if you get that low, pump it right back up. It takes no time at the gas station to pump 3 or 4 gallons of gas. You're better to just go in, go out, and it may seem like a hassle, but you're always full and you're always ready. And it just takes less time than going into a gas station when you're a quarter full. You've got to pump 3/4 of gas. You got people waiting in line. It's a hassle. So we're trying to avoid that sort of thing, trying to get people to think ahead. It's worked for us for years. We did it up north in blizzard country in upstate New York and in Connecticut, where I'm from. My wife is originally from dairy farm country in upstate New York, and it works for us down here in hurricane country. We just make sure, just like having some money in the wallet, you want to have a little bit of gas in the tank, and we'd like to have a lot of gas in the tank. I'm going to go out and see if I can pull up and see what's going on with these tornadoes right now. We shouldn't lose you guys. Just an awful thing what's going on. Every year at this time, it's so hard to watch tornadoes coming through. It's just and we'll turn that down. All right, we're watching max velocity right now. They've got a huge tornado on the ground. I'm not sure where it is at this point. I have a little tough time seeing with my glasses here. And I appreciate Max. He's been out there. He's been a meteorologist for many years. He's got a bunch of subscribers, and right now he's got 123,000 people watching his show. And apparently there's a tornado down in Knox, Indiana, and I'll leave it to him to actually give the warning, but that's just an awful thing. And we again, our thoughts and prayers are with anybody who's out in these terrible tornadoes tonight, whether it be in Texas, Indiana, Illinois, Oklahoma City. It's just a terrible thing. So we just wish our thoughts and prayers to you guys. I'm going to put another chat out there. All right, what I've got here is, again, we wish the best for those who have been affected by this evening's tornadic activity. Our thoughts and prayers are with you all. As I mentioned to you, I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 this year. So I've seen this stuff every year for a long time. I know a lot of you have seen it a lot longer. And then we've got our younger generation coming up who they may not have dealt with this as much as we have here. But it only takes one tornado. It only takes one thunderstorm. It only takes one hurricane or tropical storm to make serious changes in your life. So we always advocate being prepared. And we're not the preppers that you may think of. We're not going to be out here talking about what kind of guns we use and how to pack a 60-pound rucksack and go out and live in the woods for 90 years. That's not what we do here. And I have great respect for those people who have the ability, capability, and the knowledge and inclination to do so. My wife and I are not part of that. My wife and I recognize that we have limitations that preclude us from doing that sort of thing. We don't have the knowledge. About the only thing I could recognize is maybe poison ivy and poison sumac, and I know not to sit or stand near both of them. But for those of you who I can identify plants and live out there, hey, we've got an uncle that lives up in the New England states, and you can put that man out there with a 4-inch piece of barbed wire and a piece of dental floss, and he can live in the woods and thrive for 6 months. He can come back. He will have gained weight. He'd be happy and healthy, and he'd be doing okay. I haven't had that experience, so I'm going to be part of that group of people, that bell curve where we're going to be getting in our vehicles. If we have to evacuate somewhere, we're going to go 20, 30, 50 miles down the road. I'll honestly tell you, we're not prepared for calamities. If we have a major nuclear event coming, we'll do the best we can, and we're not overly concerned to be able to survive the apocalypse. We've gotten through life now. We've had a wonderful life. And if something happens and takes us, hey, it takes us. But in the meantime, we've got great hurricane prep knowledge, storm prep knowledge. We've just been taught so much by so many people, and we're just paying it forward, and we want to bring it to you guys. We've already helped hundreds of people with their hurricane prep plans. We've helped a bunch of people develop generator operation and maintenance plans. I'm still hired by customers to come and maintain their generators, check them out, run them occasionally, which is a real, excuse me, a little itchy there, which is a real nice thing. And I take pride in doing so because these people count on me to come down and say, hey, so if a storm comes, I know that the machine's going to run. And that's the whole point. So what our channel is all about here is imparting as much knowledge as we can and giving you folks any of the skills we need. A lot of this you may have heard 15, 20 years ago, but maybe we've got a different spin on it. And you see how we live. I've got the diesel generator right here in the background, and that's a 10,000 watt generator. It seems like an awful big machine for 10,000 watt, but she's an 1800 RPM diesel generator. She's liquid cooled, got a 30-gallon base tank. So it'll run about 48 hours on its own. And because of its size and because of the way the house is set up, we can go for days on this thing. And we've got plenty of fuel reserve that we can stock up on if we need to. And that's how we do it. We run diesels. This is our third diesel generator. We've always had diesel generators. We've helped people with gas generators. We've helped people with propane generators. And the idea is it doesn't matter what it is, it's a power plant. If you maintain it, that's great. This has got a Stamford Newage alternator on it, and that generates 10,000 watts of very clean power. So we have no problem running this here laptop here if we need to put it on, or any of the digital equipment you're watching here with this video. And we can also run our new AC system and the different things we have. So we invested some serious money, but we're diesel people. I've been around trucks and construction equipment all my life. My wife is a farmer's daughter. She's been around all that stuff too. So we don't mind spending extra money for diesels. We've always had it. And at this point, we always will. We've got family members who've got diesel generators, natural gas generators, propane generators, gasoline generators. They all do the same thing, and they recognize, hey, as long as they get a machine that's a little bit bigger, not a lot, but a little bit bigger than they need to comfortably run their house, then they're going to do real well. So that way you're not burning excess fuel, and that way you're able to take care of your family and take care of your house and keep things comfortable. One thing I will share here, and yes, we're talking about hurricane prep and tornadoes, but if you have a generator like ours, as I mentioned, it runs at, this is a Kubota engine, and it runs at 1800 RPM. It does not run at 3600 RPM like our first diesel and our second diesel did. This thing runs at half the speed because it's a 4-pole generator, not a 2-pole. So it only needs to run at 1800 RPM to generate 60 hertz of power. But the nice thing about it is it's real quiet. You can barely hear this thing running. And if you're coming down our street, you won't even notice this thing running. So you're going to be, and if you're coming down to get somebody in harm's way or looking to take a generator, you're going to be taking somebody else's because you're not even going to hear ours run. You're not even going to see it. So we believe in that white pebble on a white beach philosophy. And that's what we also teach the people. If you're prepped for a storm and you've got some money and you've got your hurricane preparedness, you've got food, you got this, you got that, you don't necessarily want to brag about it because you want to be a white pebble on a white beach. You don't want to tell people about what you have. And I don't mean to sound selfish. I don't mean to sound cold. What I'm just saying is that you've got to take care of your own in times like these, because unfortunately, there are people out there who would rather go around on the hunt and take advantage of what people have. And we're going to be one of those households, and we've always been one of those households where if anybody wanted to do that sort of thing, they're going to have an awful hard time because they're going to come up with quite the resistance from this household and definitely from most of our neighbors here in the community where we live, just like in the community where we used to live. People take care of their own, they watch their friends, they watch their family and their neighbors, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. I'm Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We run a hurricane prep channel here on YouTube, and we appreciate YouTube's giving us the opportunity to produce videos and bring this information out to you. We also do heavy duty DIY solutions, and many of you may have seen the information that we put out on the channel. We've got a lot of information that we've learned from a lot of other people out there. We just passed our 92nd subscriber, so we're very proud to have 92 subscribers on this. 92 subscribers here on the channel. That's funny how I made that mistake. So today we just passed 92 subscribers, and that's really wonderful considering we've only been doing this since about August. And it all started because our nephew, said, "Hey," I asked him about how you do videos and do this and do that. And he's one of these little technical marvels. And he stitched together a few videos and said, "You can take Canva and you can do this and you can do that." And all of a sudden, Mary and I are looking at videos of the things that we'd put together. So this guy's amazing. And that was the impetus. And that's what got us started on the channel. So God bless our nephew for that. It was a wonderful thing that he did. But anyway, we're moving on to say, hey, we always advocate forming a community. We're not big people. We're not people persons. Let's put it that way. We're not people persons. We're not partiers. We don't go out and do this, do that. We prefer to be behind the scenes, quietly doing things. But we do understand the value of close relationships. So we've got relationships established with a good half a dozen of our community neighbors here. And we can count on them and they can count on us. And that's one thing about the community. And I'll bring another segue in here. When you're dealing with community, you really can't help your community until you help yourself first. So once you set up your own disaster plan, be it for tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, whatever, could be a chemical spill, a gas tanker explodes and takes out a bridge 10 miles from your home and disrupts things for days. If you've got a plan set up and you've taken care of yourself and you've taken care of your family, only then can you reach out and help your neighbor, help them get established with a plan so they can help themselves and their family. Now you can go out and help your community. So if you want to go out and help your community, the best thing you can do is help yourself first. Take care of your family. Take care of your immediate home and your immediate surroundings. Get that locked down solid as you need to do with a solid emergency plan of some kind. Then you go to your neighbor and you work with your neighbors. Once you're done with that, then you can reach out to the community. And that way you're not out there running on what we call an empty gas tank. You can get out there and offer real help to people based on real experience with people and give them what they need in times of crisis. And you'll find that when you're set up like this, the bad times aren't going to be as bad. There may be some serious times, but it's like the analogy with money. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up with nothing, welfare and food stamps and government cheese. I remember I used to get government cheese, and it was not a fun thing for me. And if that's what you need to get by on a temporary basis like we had to, hey, we do what we had to do. But to this day, I just have a disdain for government cheese. But you know what? At least it was there. At least it was there for the time that I needed it, my family needed it. And I was real young and had a head of hair too. So that was a while ago. But the thing is, I found back then that I once had about $453 in the bank, and it took me a while to save that money, $10, $15 a week in a savings account. And then inevitably I'd have a flat tire or I'd need a set of tires for the car, and I would just about wipe out that savings account. And that was real difficult. But I finally got to the point where I said, hey, I'm going to make a difference in my life and for my people around me. So I worked hard. I saved up whatever extra money I could. And a neat thing happened to me. I found that the more reserves I had set aside, the less problems I had. When I had a few extra tools in my car, if I had a flat tire, I learned how to take care of the flat tire. If I had a brake problem, I learned how to change brakes. And to this day, Nobody maintains the brakes on our vehicles. I do the brakes on our own vehicles and will continue to do so until I can no longer do so. So I anticipate being able to take care of the brakes on my wife's vehicle, my vehicle, well into my 70s. So I've got at least another decade going there. But I found when we had resources in the form of knowledge, in the form of tools, or in the form of money, all of a sudden we didn't have as many crises. And life wasn't as bad as it would be when you're broke and you have no resources, no tools, no knowledge, and you're a victim. And I didn't want to be a victim anymore. And my wife went through that, but well before I met her. She grew up with very slim pickings as well. And she went through the same thing. She found that once she was able to buckle down and save a few bucks and do this and that, all of a sudden life was less taxing for her. And we met back in 1996. We've been married, we would have known each other almost 36 years. This year will be our 29th wedding anniversary, and we've got the same philosophy. So we recognize the magic of the philosophy and wanted to share that with you guys. And we hope that you'll share with us because we certainly don't know everything. We're taking the time, putting ourselves out there on YouTube just to say, hey, these are the things that we've been through. These are the things that we can offer to you. What do you have to offer to us? And I'll say again, if you appreciate what we're doing, you like the vibe, please like and please consider subscribing, but only subscribe if this is something that you're interested in. We only want subscribers who are interested in our content. We don't need you to subscribe and then never watch anything. We need subscribers who walk the walk and talk the talk like we do. And that's not going to be everyone, and we understand that. But if you've gotten wisdom and you like the message here, we invite you to like and subscribe. Definitely share with your circle and definitely share with people and leave a comment. If you leave comments, the comments are the only way we can really link with the public so we can say, hey, what is it that these guys are looking for? What other content, what other information can we provide to help you in your journey? So thank you very much if you have interested and you find some interest in this live. Thank you so much. I'm back over at max velocity now. And apparently he's talking about a tornado down in Knox, Indiana. I can't really see the screen too well. Of course, it's dark out there. Yet we do I see flashes of lightning. And when we do, we see a string of a tornado. We see a cloud that has touched the ground. And just an awful, awful thing that these people have to go through, this sort of thing. I just think it's so terrible. I'm just going to look a little closer. Just a little hard for me to see. I've got a small laptop screen, so it's a little hard to see. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to anybody who's affected by the terrible tornadoes happening here in Indiana, Oklahoma City, Illinois, Texas. And if there are any more that are going on right now, there are 32 severe warnings according to Max and 5 tornado warnings. So if I've missed any states, my deepest apologies to you. We just want to, again, extend our thoughts and prayers to anyone who might be affected by these terrible tornadoes. Hurricanes are a tough thing amongst themselves, but they don't stack the energy that a tornado has. That tornado can be so intense and come so quickly, and it can come in the middle of the night and you have virtually no warning. And hurricanes aren't like that. You know what's going on if you're paying attention anyway. You know what's going on for days. You've seen Hurricane Charlie back in 2004 hooked to the east and wind right up into what is it, Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, the harbor up there. And a nice tight tornado that caused so much damage and caused quite a rewrite of Punta Gorda's building codes up there. You saw Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian was supposed to be headed north in 2022, headed toward Tampa. And unfortunately, on September 28th, we were there. We were right in the middle of Ian. Ian hit our area, and it wasn't supposed to hit there. Tremendous loss of life on Fort Myers Beach. 15 and 19-foot storm surge was reported. Just an awful thing. So That's why we're here. Nature happens, Mother Nature happens, crap happens. So we do our best to be prepared. And as we age, we've made strategic changes in our life and our location and the kind of house we live in to just give us the best chances we can to survive and thrive through Mother Nature's crazy events. And we certainly want you to do the same. And if there's more that we can do to help you, please, please just let us know. And that's why we're here. Just we're sharing a message. We've had a lot of people help us, and we're trying to help a lot of people. Right now, it looks like we've got 33 severe warnings according to max velocity for tornadoes in the Midwest area, and 6 tornadoes now. And he was down in Kerr, Texas, and he's back into Knox, Indiana, where storm trackers are out there. And you got to give these storm trackers a lot of credit for being out there and tracking these storms. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they know the areas where they go. They go off on the wildest roads and they have to turn around and back up, and they run that danger of being caught in a tornado. It's just an awful thing, but they serve such valuable service because there are so many people. And I'm not one of those because I'm not in this area right now, but you might be one of the people watching these broadcasts and learning about tornadic activity in your area that you would not know about except for somebody like Max Velocity and so many of the others that are out there monitoring these tornadoes and storms. And the way we look at it, Mother Nature is Mother Nature. Whether it's a storm like a tornado, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a tropical storm, whether it's a gas tanker that explodes and takes out a bridge and screws up your transportation for weeks, we just advocate that people have a plan. Have at least seven days, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 months of storage in your house for food. Now, water is a challenge. It's really hard to put 90 days of water. Let's say if you go 3 months, 3 months worth of water for one person is a lot of water, because if you average a gallon a day, and that's 90 gallons of water for a person, each gallon weighs almost 9 pounds. And if you've got 5 people in the household, you can see where the math is going there. So that's a hard thing. But we advocate being as prepared as you can without going crazy. You can have a food stock, an appropriate food stock. My wife and I wrote a book called Real Life Hurricane Prep. It's available on Amazon. You can read about it in the channel. We also wrote a cookbook called You Gotta Eat. We've got another hurricane book coming out. We've got another hurricane prep cookbook coming out. We believe in this stuff, and we want to share the message. We've had so many people teach us, and we want to pay that forward to you guys. Take this information. It doesn't cost that much. The biggest investment is time. Learn how to prepare for yourself. Learn how to do this. Learn how to do that. It's a good thing. We see Riley Dibble. He's another. Riley's another storm chaser down there in Indiana, and I'm assuming it's a guy. I can't quite tell. Again, my vision isn't the best, so I apologize. Right now, we've got 5 tornado warnings, 33 severe warnings, and I'll leave it up to these guys. These are the experts in regards to tornadoes and what's going on. Our deal is hurricane prep. Our deal is heavy DIY projects, and our idea is this. If you can learn from our DIY videos and you can learn about lifting, you can learn about rigging, you can learn about how to safely handle tools and learn about the neat things you can do with power gauges and generators and that sort of thing, then you'll be head and shoulders above so many people who find themselves unprepared to handle a hurricane warning and an actual storm that blows through and may cause them a power outage of 6.5 days like we had during 2017's Hurricane Irma, or 3.5 days like we dealt with Hurricane Ian in 2022. You'll have the knowledge, you'll be calm, and you'll be able to help yourself. And more importantly, you'll be able to help other people during that whole ordeal. And that's a very important thing too. I'm Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We run a YouTube channel out here under the same name. and we provide hurricane prep information. We provide heavy DIY advice, and we've got a number of playlists and a number of videos together. We put together a comprehensive hurricane plan for our community association where we've lived since 2012. We moved out of that association in 2022. We bought a new home about 24 miles north in 2022, moved into it in 2023, been here almost 3 years. That's the base of our operations now. We're 30 miles inland off the Florida coast, which is a good thing. We're 34 miles high and, 34 feet in elevation. I don't think there's anything 34 miles high in Florida. 34 feet in elevation, and we're in a home built to the most current building codes. And that's a move we made as we get older. I'm going to be 61 this year. My wife's somewhat older, and we recognize our limitations, we recognize our capabilities, and we decided to position ourselves in a place that would be better for us and would allow us to better help others, just like you if you're watching this video tonight. So we appreciate your watching. We're going to be on for another couple minutes here. We got started a little late. We had some technical difficulties, so we'll stay on a little later. For anybody who has come by tonight, appreciate your coming by on the channel. Right now, we got somebody online here, and it's wonderful to have you here. We've gone through and discussed hurricane panels in this video. So when this video ends, it'll become available. You can learn about that. We talked about impact windows versus non-impact windows, positive versus negative pressure. We've also talked about the tornadic activity that's going on in our Midwest states, and just a terrible thing that's going on tonight. We just want to offer our prayers and our supports to people as they go through that sort of thing. So we got another few minutes here. And again, thank you very much for those of you who've dropped by. Now remember, this video is not something that contains a lot of video content. It contains audio content more than anything. So you can listen to it while you're driving to work, or maybe listen to it while you're working. You can listen to it if you're like me, out here in the garage working on stuff. And if you're home cooking or whatever, you could put this sort of thing on, and you could even play it at 1.5 or 2 times speed. And you can pick up hurricane prep knowledge. You can pick up different things about shutters and different things about generators. And that's why we're doing this. We're trying to make it easy for people just to stream through our content. Rewind it 20 minutes if you have to. Learn those concepts so that you can pick up and just watch video after video. We're trying to be a familiar face in the hurricane prep world. We've had our hard knocks. We've been through a lot over the years, and we want to share that with you and pay it forward, because luckily we've had so many people help us when we were new to Florida and said, okay, we are now in hurricane country. What do we do? Where do we go? What's the first step? Well, we've more than made up for all that. And we've written a hurricane prep book on it, which is available on Amazon. You can see that in the description. We've got a cookbook that we wrote. We've got another hurricane cookbook coming out, another hurricane prep book coming out. So we're serious about spreading the word and helping people. So we appreciate all your time. And again, if you've got, if you gained a nugget or two of wisdom, as I look at our clock here, feel free to like this video. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, but only if you like what you see and you resonate with the content. We do not want anybody as a subscriber if they're not interested in the content and interested in learning how to be self-reliant. My wife says it best. Self-reliance is the best insurance. I'll say that again. Self-reliance is the best insurance. And we just want to make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of your family. Only then can you go out and properly help your neighbor, empower them to take care of themselves. And then you guys can work together to help take care of your community. And that's what we're all about here at Cameron Home Solutions LLC. It's about hurricane prep. It's about heavy DIY solutions. It's about learning tips and techniques, about always being prepared, having things set up in a way that you don't even realize you could do, maybe in your own garage or in your own house. And that way, if a storm or something comes up, you're able to cope with it and deal with it. And that's the whole point. I'm going back out to max velocity here. We've got a tornado emergency. And this is as of 8:41, which would be 9:41 Eastern time. You're looking at Knox, Indiana. Apparently, they're having some major issues, and I've got the video, the volume down, so we can't really hear it. But we got 33 severe warnings tonight. We've got 5 tornado warnings. Max is out there. He's got 113,000 subscribers, or excuse me, 113,000 viewers tonight. Awful scenario. Again, Godspeed to anyone who might be affected or have any friends, family, or relatives affected by these tornadoes. We wish you the best. Mary and I wish you only the deepest sympathies and the deepest prayers. We thank you very much for your time tonight. And again, I'm just taking a look at the screen. I can't believe the activity that's going on tonight. It's just amazing. The thing that I hope with so many people who are dealing with these tornadoes at this time is that they've had a plan, that they've got food in stores, and maybe they got some of these above ground tornado shelters, which are pretty neat things. We checked them out a couple years ago. We've got people who've got great shelters in their homes. We've got people who've got underground shelters. Whatever you have, if you feel the need to go in and take advantage of those shelters tonight, please do so. God bless you all. We'll see you on another live session. This is Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We're signing off for now. All our hope and prayers are with the tornado victims tonight, dealing with those crazy storms. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content, and definitely share with your circle. Leave us a comment. Let's see, I can't get this right. There we go. Leave us a comment down below because if you give us comments, we'll know what to do for you and what questions to answer for you down through. Thank you again. God bless and have a great night. We'll see you at another live session.